Before we wrap up the editing chapter, I want to talk about one more editing feature that's built into Camtasia Studio, and that's the use of markers. Markers are like sticky notes that you can add to your timeline that will allow you to quickly identify and then get back to a particular point in your timeline that you may want to apply an edit to. To access the markers feature, all we need to do is click the drop-down menu here with the gear in our timeline and select Show Marker View or press Ctrl-M on your keyboard. A new bar appears here above your timeline for all of your markers. Let's go ahead and zoom into our timeline a couple of clicks so we can more easily see the audio waveforms. By looking at the audio waveforms, we can oftentimes identify points where we may need to make an edit. Here, we're able to see that there's a large gap that's been left in between some of our audio. That may indicate that there's a problem here or that there is an edit that we need to be able to make. We can easily remind ourselves of this location by making sure that our playhead is at that location and then simply pressing the M key on our keyboard. That will add a marker onto our timeline at that particular point. By default, our markers are all named sequentially, marker 1, marker 2, and so forth. If that's a fine name for you, all you need to do is simply hit the return or enter key on your keyboard in order to accept that name. You can then move your playhead to a new location where you think that there may be a need for an edit at that point. You can then simply press the M key again and accept another marker by pressing enter or return. As I look down on my timeline, I can see a spot right here where I've got a separation between two clips. I'll go ahead and move my playhead down to that location and then press the M key again to create another marker. Now, if I decide that I want to make a note about this particular marker here, because my text is already selected, and I know at this point I'm more than likely going to need a transition, I'll go ahead and simply type in transition and hit enter or return on my keyboard to accept that change. Now I've got a custom named marker right here. I can also create a marker by simply moving my mouse just above the timeline and just below the markers line and click my mouse to add another marker at that point. Once again, I'll hit enter or return to accept that change. The nice part about markers is that you're able to easily navigate around on your timeline once you've added some markers. For instance, if you hold down the Control key and you press the left bracket arrow, your playhead will automatically jump back to the previous marker. By pressing Control right bracket, your playhead will jump automatically to the next marker. This way, you can quickly go through your movie, make notations, add markers to the points where you think you're going to need to make some edits, and then navigate via your keyboard to those locations and make your final edits. By using markers in your editing process, it will greatly speed up the time that you spend going through doing your edits.